Noche UFC is Saturday at the Sphere in Las Vegas, highlighted by 2 title fights. The main card begins at 10 Eastern on pay-per-view. Prelims, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN News, ESPN Deportes, ESPN Plus. To order the main card in English and Spanish, go to espnplus.com/pay-per-view. On that note, it's great to be joined now by UFC President and CEO, the one and only Dana White, who's reverse aging. Dana, so good to see you.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Good to see you.
You too.
Noche UFC at the Sphere. Unreal. How did you even make this happen? You put $20 million, I heard, into this.
Yeah. So Brady actually hit me up during the week and said, hey, you want to go see the U2 concert at the Sphere this weekend? So I went. Had I not gone with him to see this, I probably wouldn't have been to the Sphere yet. And I was literally sitting there that night, and the experience is incredible. And I'm like, I'm going to do the first sporting event here. So I called Craig Borsari, our head of production, and said, I don't know what you're doing next weekend, but cancel it. You and the team got to come down here and he's the best.
He's the best.
You guys got to come here and walk through this, and I want to do an event here. And originally, Borsari, we do a regular event's $2.5 million, so his budget was $8 million for this one. We're $20 million in now, going into Saturday.
And why? To just highlight for all of us.
Tom Brady inspired him with
that's true.
That's one part of it all. But talk to me about why this was so important to you and you wanted to do this. What is it about the Sphere that makes this so special?
So as I was sitting in there watching, first of all, if you haven't experienced the Sphere, there's nothing like it. You've never experienced anything like this in your life before. And while we were watching U2, we were up in Jim Dolan's box, and I'm watching this thing, and I'm like, the Sphere is the star of the show. The Sphere is the star. You listen to the music, and you're watching the images, and every once in a while you look over and look at U2, and I'm like, this would be fascinating to pull off a sporting event. First of all, everybody was saying it couldn't be done, which I love right out the gate.
Right.
Number one. Number two, this is where sports and entertainment truly come together for the first time ever. And I think that this is a groundbreaking event in the fact that other leagues will look at this. Like when you go to an NBA game, at halftime, the mascot comes out and dunks balls off a trampoline. You got guys juggling. I think as they start to build these arenas that are popping up everywhere or refurbish the old arenas, you start thinking about the technology of the LED screens and all the things that could be possible. And I think this is a groundbreaking event on Saturday.
Go ahead, Shannon.
Danny, you said something very interesting. Normally, people have an event and they want their event to be the star of the show. You said the Sphere is the star of the show, and you're okay with that. What's going to make this such a unique experience, something the world has never, ever witnessed before?
So here's what we're challenged with. A great question, as usual. So we are going to put on this unbelievable entertainment event. There's a movie that's going to run in the Sphere, right? And there are chapters to this movie. So before each fight is a movie, and you will be focused on the Sphere and the screen. Then the fighters will walk out, and hopefully what we're hoping is then the fight is the star of the show. When that's over, there will be another movie, then a fight. And this movie that I'm talking about in these chapters will tell the history of combat sports in Mexico, the history of the Mexican people, their traditions. It is what I call the love letter to Mexico.
Yeah, it's also Mexican Independence Day. I didn't mention that as well. But
Right.
all the storytelling built in and all the visuals.
I have to ask you about Sean O'Malley because this brother's something special. If you're gonna have an event like this, you need a big name. Talk to me about him, how big of a name he is. How much does he mean to the UFC at this particular moment in time, since he is the main event center?
Yeah, he's become a big star for us. He's one of these kids that's great to deal with. He gets it. He gets the business. And the great thing about this fight is you have the number one guy in the world in Merab taking on the champ, Sean O'Malley. Literally the best fight that you could possibly put on in that division.
Yeah, a lot of KO highlight reels from that guy. And you talk about knowing the business, social media. He's tremendous as to. Sorry, I stepped on you, Shannon. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to ask Dana, when you put on an event like this, Dana, you want fights to end. You don't want them to go to the scorecards. I know that irks you a lot. I've heard you say it time and time again. These fights were boring when they go to decisions. What is your expectations of the fighters? Because when you put cards together, you want the fans that's in attendance, you want the people that's pay-per-view, you want them to be entertained, you want fights to end in stoppage or submission.
Well, listen, I can control, normally when we're going into an event, I can control all the bells and whistles. What makes this weekend very unique is I'm not going to know what works and what doesn't work until Saturday night when the show is over.
Exactly.
Then it's too late, and this is a one and done. So I can't control what happens in the octagon. We always match make to try to make the best fights possible. And it's not that I don't like fights going to decision. The fights that go to decision that are great fights are unbelievable. They're just as good as a knockout or a submission. But that is all out of my control that night. We do our thing in matchmaking, and then I do the bells and whistles, and once that cage door closes, it's up to the fighters. In a perfect world for me, if this thing goes off the way that I want it to on Saturday night, I think that we could repackage this, and this could stay at the Sphere and be a show that people could come in and see for the rest of the year.
Dana, let me ask you this question, because you've been obviously over the UFC for ages now. You've been doing a great job. What is the greatest UFC event you've ever been a part of?
Oh,
and you've been a part of all.
No, that's a good question. You know, you have to take, there's different markers for this. I would say, you know, Conor McGregor events are always big and tons of energy and fun. UFC 300 that we just did, that ended up being this massive monumental event for us, and I have to imagine that this Saturday night is going to go in the books as one of the greatest nights of my life.
Dana, let me ask you this, though, before we let you roll. I know you're a Boston guy. Originally, people forget that huge Patriots fan. Were you shocked by the win over the Cincinnati Bengals? I mean, people have them projected to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. You know, the fact that these guys went in there, they were like 8.5, you know,
Underdogs.
point underdogs. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was incredible. I'm happy, and yeah, I love it. Unfortunately, I was on a plane flying here and didn't get to see the game.
But a little more optimistic about your season now.
100%, 100%.
Listen,
Listen, I'm so good being a Patriots fan. We've won, you know, all the AFC championships, the Super Bowls, everything we've done. I'm good.
I was getting ready to ask you, how hard is it to be a Patriots fan, considering the fact that this ain't the days of Tom Brady now? It hasn't been at least the last 4 years.
I can't complain. I mean, both of my sons are 22 and 23. All we knew was winning. Their whole life, all they knew was winning. We had so many great memories and times.
You take the duck boats out every year. I mean, you got the Boston Celtics this year. It's
true.
It's Banner Town.
You know how good it is to be a Boston fan?
Yeah, it's
it is the greatest thing in life to be a Boston fan.
Messed up, yeah. Try being a Giants fan. I screwed up there being from Connecticut. I should have went up north. Go ahead, Shay, and then we'll roll.
Hey, Dana, I want to ask this. Dana, after spending 20-plus years in heaven, a couple of years in hell isn't quite as bad as it once would have been. You look at what you guys accomplished with the Red Sox, with the Patriots, you cannot complain. If you never win another game in Boston, no sports team win another game, you good, bro. You real good.
Could not agree with you more. It has been an awesome run.
All right, Dana doing something that's never been done. The UFC at the Sphere. Love it. Always pushing the envelope, Dana. You don't stop. Thank you so much for being with us.